Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Good morning. It is 7:07. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Happy Friday, and a Friday before the long Labor Day weekend. I'm Patrice Onwuka. You know my voice every Friday morning, alongside Hans von Spakovsky. Good morning, Hans.
Good morning, Patrice. And we're already halfway through our segments this morning.
Can you imagine 2 hours has gone by, and the next two are going to be power-packed. At 7:30, we've got Virginia's Governor Glenn Youngkin here. At 8:05, Garrett Exner. He is appointed to the Virginia Military Institute Board of Visitors. He's going to give us a lowdown on what's going on with the board. And then at 8:35, Stuart Whitson. He's running in a special election to represent Virginia's 11th Congressional District. And right now, a good friend of the show, we're welcoming Mary Katharine Ham. Good morning, Mary Katharine.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Good. I mean, I neglected to mention you were in the, used to be a morning show host here at WMAL. You're a Fox News contributor. You are a board member of the Travis Manion Foundation. You are a lady with many hats. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you very much. I am. And I have to say that the traffic and weather music is somehow comforting to me all these years later when I hear it kick in. It's so nice to talk to you guys.
It's great. There you go. Thank you, Michael. Well, this morning we kind of kicked off the show just giving an update on the Minnesota shooting, the tragedy by what is none other than a monster, a deranged monster, he's been called. And I would just love your reflections on, what happened this week. You're a mom. What was going through your mind when you heard about this shooting, particularly during the first week of school?
Yeah, I think everyone puts themselves in the shoes of those who've been affected by this, and it's so unthinkable. Particularly as a mom with kids, at a religious school. Many of us are, particularly post-pandemic, when a lot of people went private who hadn't been before, and that's been an increasing target for these kinds of things. And I think. Mass shooting and shootings in general, the response in the national media is often somehow compounds the pain, even though it shouldn't be able to get worse. But the coverage is so bad sometimes that it's just amazing. And in this case, I think everybody wants to retreat to their safe rhetoric, like whatever makes them feel good, right? And the weird thing is that now the contrast is that on the right, a lot of people say, okay, let's pray. Let's do thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers are good. And the left, because it's very mad that they don't think thoughts and prayers are enough and they want very specific action, their new safe talking point, quote unquote, is to say, your thoughts and prayers are lame and bad. And I just think that is the most insulting thing to do to people of faith who were affected by this shooting. And that I didn't think that in public I would have to mount a defense of prayer itself and explain it to people who don't understand it, that it's not supposed to fix everything, that it's not supposed to be sufficient in the ways that we see in the everyday world. God lives beyond that. God is with you through pain. That is the promise, not that he removes pain at all times. I guess it's nice to be able to explain that on national TV, and maybe it will fall on someone's ears that might be helpful. But I didn't realize that liberal commentators and Democrats would give me the opportunity to explain, like, prayer is good, actually, guys.
Yeah, but Mary Katharine,
particularly in tragedy. Yeah,
it really tells us what their real attitudes are towards religious faith, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where it comes from. They have a terrible misunderstanding of what prayer means to people, of what people's faiths mean to people. They are naturally contemptuous of it, and I'm not trying to be a hack and put those motivations on them. They're making it very clear. Gavin Newsom, perhaps most sociopathically, points out in response to Carolyn Levitt's defense of prayer, he says they were praying while they were shot at. No national politician should even be able to come back from that sentiment. But I guess he probably has enough people on the left who will support it. But I just find it so bizarre and off-putting, and actually sort of perverse, because the people who were targeted were people of faith.
Yeah. You know, Mary Catherine, what's interesting, just shifting gears to talk about the shooter here, monster, the deranged monster, as Kristi Noem has called him. There are lots of elements at play. There is the parental involvement here. His mother is not cooperating with law enforcement, but in fact has lawyered up, a criminal defense lawyer. His father apparently appears to be also being, he is cooperating, but we understand the mother signed off on this young man transitioning into a girl as an underage child. So there's the aspect of the transitioning and whether he wanted to detrans. There's the parental involvement here. There are lots of different strains. And then to your point about houses of worship and the religious element, the fact that, it's been uncovered, the Catholic Church has asked for protection for the schools, and Governor Walz, ignored their requests compared to giving extra money for protection to schools. What do you make of all those different threads, or if you want to pull one thread and talk about it?
Yeah, I think that we do. Look, I don't think that the trans discussion about how we treat children who claim to have gender dysphoria has to be based on this tragedy, right? I think we were about to have a discussion anyway, and this might accelerate it. And we need to have the discussion either way, even if this had not happened. There has not been an honest discussion about how these children are treated, what that does to their mental health and physical health, whether as a society we should be propping up the idea that they are the gender they think they are, and how much harm that does. I think we're in a new place where we can actually have that discussion, and I think it will hopefully spare a lot of children from a lot more pain in the future if we could be much more critical about this. I mean, I think we're going to look back on the treatment of these children. And I also feel for parents, because there is so much pressure on them when a child identifies as trans to push their child in that direction, often with these, very manipulative threats of they will kill themselves if you don't, right? So I have some sympathy for them on that front. But we're going to look back on this and go, what were doctors doing? What were doctors doing without evidence, in fact, with countervailing evidence that this really hurts children? We have an accelerating mental health problem in this country. It has been, exponentially expanding since isolation from the pandemic. Many of us who did not like pandemic regulations predicted that this would happen, and we have to deal with it now. But let's not deal with it by indulging and pumping people full of hormones that don't work for their bodies.
Mary Catherine, we're running up against the clock, but I do know that you wanted to talk about the 9/11 Heroes Run. That's something that's organized by, the Travis Manion Foundation, of which you're a board member. Do you want to talk about what's coming up? Yeah,
thank you so much. We have one on in Oakton, Virginia on September 21st. It's a 5K. You can run it. You can walk it. You can bring your family. The Travis Manion Foundation is a veteran services organization that connects it connects veteran communities, survivors of fallen soldiers and Marines, with civilians to do public service together. It's a really beautiful thing. Your family will love it. You'll meet wonderful people. You'll never be out of the organization afterward. I've addicted many people to this. You can go to 911heroesrun.com. And you know what? I bet your upcoming guest, Garrett Exner, will be at this race with his very athletic family. And you know what? I'm going to bug Governor Youngkin about it too, because everyone should come. For the 9/11 Heroes Run. Sign up at 911heroesrun.com. Sign up and come visit me. It's a really good time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary Catherine, for joining us this morning. And again, folks, go to travismanion.org to learn about these events. And I think there's going to be one in Annapolis, Quantico, and as you mentioned, Oakton, Virginia. All right. Thanks, MK.
That's correct. Thanks, guys.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Okay, so Hans, Cracker Barrel, good food, good times. Bad rebrand. I think we've all been just now that the Kiss Cam issue is long in our memories. We've now turned to Cracker Barrel and another brand rebranding gone wrong. We saw what happened. What was it? Maybe last week about this time, where they unveiled the new logo that took out Uncle Herschel and the barrel. and replaced it with a bland Chipotle style logo. The locations are now being decluttered, so to speak. Well, all of that has come to a grinding halt. They've apologized. Old Uncle Herschel is back from retirement. They've put him back on the logo, and I think the new CEO is trying to redeem herself. What's interesting, and I love this story now, we have an update. This is what happens when a founder who starts a beautiful company, grows it big, and then hands it off like a baby and hands it to what should be a responsible adult, Hans, and instead the responsible adult makes a mess of a beautiful child. Now we have the words of the co-founder of Cracker Barrel. Let's play this clip, and I'd love for your response on this. This is 93-year-old co-founder Tommy Lowe.
Logo rolled out the other day.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nothing. It's a bland nothing. It's pitiful.
Do you think she knows the story of Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I heard she was at Taco Bell, but what's Taco Bell know about a Cracker Barrel? And country food. And the food is something that you need to work on. Spending $700 million to do that is all I've been doing. I'm just throwing money out the street.
Hans.
Well, look, I go on road trips with my family, and the reason people stop at Cracker Barrel is because of the country food, fried chicken and things like that. It's the whole atmosphere. When I saw this happening, I was wondering whether they had hired the CEO and her PR team from Budweiser, because it seemed like they're making exactly the same mistakes, or maybe it was. Did they come over from Jaguar? Because remember, Jaguar did the same thing. And he's right. $700 million?
Insane.
That is insane. I cannot believe that the CEO is still there. I mean, she should have been fired almost immediately for even coming up with an idea this stupid.
Yeah, we talked about her last week. She came from Taco Bell, and she's been in the world of these large, big brands, food chains. And if you've noticed, I've noticed it, a lot of the authenticity of these chains, maybe they started as a single restaurant, there was something special, a unique niche they filled, and then they fall into the hands of these CEOs like Julie Masino, in this case, who just want to suck the life, suck the authenticity, suck the juice out of the lemon and leave us with a rind. And they call it a rebrand. And everything that made these restaurants like Cracker Barrel unique and special gets just painted in beige or gray, and we're left with bland food, and the food is not even better. So I love that we have the former founder, the CEO, who's the founder of the company, who's really saying this is what makes it great. It is not the logo. It is not the. It's the food. It's the basics. Get back to basics, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. But a lot of these new CEOs, a lot of them female, and as our good friend Julie Gunlock has often pointed out, wears glasses. White liberal ladies who have their DEI certifications. They think that they're bringing some fresh rebrand to the table that's going to boost the bottom line, and unfortunately it tends to backfire. Yeah,
no, it's the exact opposite. And we should also remember that apparently they were a big sponsor of the Pride Parade in Nashville, and suddenly, apparently a day or so ago, their huge page about the LBGTQRM and I can do the whole alphabet page, suddenly apparently disappeared from their website.
Interesting. Well, I mean, this story continues to have legs, but it was really sweet hearing from that 93-year-old man say, she came from Taco Bell. What does Taco Bell have to do with Cracker Barrel? I think we're all asking that question. It's 7:22. All right. Well, we've been teasing all morning about Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. Well, He is coming up on the other side of this break. He's going to talk with us about Abigail Spanberger trying to undo his legacy when it comes to protecting Virginia citizens from criminal, violent, illegal immigrants and more. Stay with us. It's O'Connor and Company at 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
All right. Good morning. It is 7:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are helping you make sense of the news. It is Patrice Onwuka in for Larry O'Connor. He's out today, and I'm joined by Hans von Spakovsky. Good morning, Hans.
Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Let's just give a quick rundown of our guests here to come. At 8:05, we've got Garrett Exner. He's appointed by Governor Glenn Youngkin to the Virginia Military Institute Board of Visitors. He's got some details on what's going on there. And at 8:35, Stuart Whitson, running for the special election to the U.S. House representing Virginia's 11th Congressional District. We are a lot of Virginia this morning, but I'm very pleased to welcome to our show the Governor of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Patrice. It is so great to be with you, and thank you for giving us the chance to talk about a bunch of really important topics. I do want to highlight Stu Whitson is a great candidate, and we all got to get out to support him in this special election because he is a great candidate. Get out and vote.
Absolutely. We are happy to have him in just a little while, and I'm sure he's listening. Well, let's just start there. Let's talk about the races right now. Your Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Sears, who is trying to take your job now, sir, to become the Governor of Virginia. She has remarkably closed the gap against Abigail Spanberger. They are pretty much close to neck and neck right now. Would love for you just to talk about, that race and some of the other races in Virginia, why it's so important that, independents and conservatives are coming out to vote to ensure that the Youngkin agenda continues and is not overturned.
Well, let's just be clear. Winsome is closing the gap hard because now voters are finally seeing the real Abigail Spanberger. And the contrast between these two candidates couldn't be more clear. Let's just begin. This week, Abigail Spanberger confirmed what we all know she would do, which is one of her top priorities, is to turn Virginia into a sanctuary state. She said it this week. She tried to walk it back. She can't walk it back. She came out very clearly that she does not want state and local law enforcement cooperating with ICE. She wants to turn it into a sanctuary state. That's just so clear. What we have accomplished in Virginia with our Virginia Homeland Security Task Force is unprecedented in the nation. We've had now over 3,500 arrests of violent illegal criminals and drug traffickers and folks that just need to go back to where they came from. Send them home. They're not supposed to be here anyway. And what Abigail Spanberger wants to do is create a sanctuary state where violent criminals can stay here. And you know why we know she believes this? She voted no against the Laken-Riley Act when she was in Congress. I'm going to say that again. She voted no against the Laken-Riley Act. She voted yes to support the D.C. District Council's lessening of penalties for violent crimes. They wanted to make a carjacking a slap on the wrist. Guess what? You get a lot more carjackings. Anybody notice that in D.C. before President Trump decided he was going to make D.C. safe again? This is Abigail Spanberger, and this is what she wants to do. Winsome Sears backs the blue, backs law and order, and will keep Virginians safe. And in the course of the last 3.5 years of working arm in arm with her, there's not been a moment where she has hesitated to stand for law and order. By the way, murders are down 30% in Virginia because we went to work. That issue, safe Virginians, is on the ballot. It's a referendum. If you vote for Abigail Spanberger, you want chaos. And if you vote for Winsome Sears, you want safe Virginia. It's just that clear. This is why Winsome is closing the gap. Listen, we also saw this week the clear distinction between Winsome, who is going to stand up for girls' sports and girls' rights, doesn't think that men should be able to go undress in front of women in locker rooms, and that we're just going to protect the sanctity, the dignity, and the safety of our young people. And Abigail Spanberger likes the fact that boys play girls' sports. She supports biological boys being in girls' bathrooms. It's just that clear. And then finally, we know that the future of Virginia is built on a thriving economy. Listen, Patrice, we have built the absolutely rip-roaring economy in Virginia. 267,000 more people working, $134 billion of business investment, with another 80,000 jobs coming, 250,000 jobs that are open and available in the Commonwealth. We got jobs. Wow. Come get them. Abigail Spanberger wants to impose forced unionization on every Virginian. She wants to get rid of right to work. And don't let her fool you. This is what she wants to do. Again, she was a patron for the PRO Act, which would gut right to work across the entire country. Winsome Sears stands strong for an economy that is based, by the way, on the private sector, not on the government. And so we have two candidates here. It couldn't be more clear. You want a rip-roaring economy with job opportunity. You want safe communities. And you want your children in your schools to learn how to think, not what to think. You vote Winsome Sears. Governor, and if you actually want a less safe Virginia, you want school to be focused on a philosophy of trying to teach children what to think. And, oh, by the way, you want to see our economy devolve into Maryland, vote for Abigail Spanberger. It's that clear. And that's why this election is so important.
Governor, I mean, I've lived in Virginia for 2 decades, and I don't think I've ever seen more radical left-wing candidates than the Democrats have put up for governor and lieutenant governor. When I was reading about them and what they stand for, I was thinking, wait a minute, are they running for office in California, not Virginia?
Yeah, it's crazy. Listen, and don't forget the attorney general candidate. And Jason Miyares is the best attorney general in America, in my view. He has stood so strong for law and order. Yes. And his opponent was the champion on letting violent criminals out early, violent criminals who then go on to commit violent crimes. I mean, this is the left progressive's view, which is don't hold anybody accountable for breaking the law. And by the way, if they're here illegally, invite them and give them sanctuary. That's what they stand for. And so you're 100% right. We have a progressive left slate that is unprecedented, and they want to make Virginia California. And we just cannot let this happen. And that's why it's so important that everybody gets out to vote. We launched this week secureyourvotevirginia.com. You'll know this website because we've been running it every year that we've had state and local elections, secureyourvotevirginia.com. It's a one-stop shop place to go and get registered if you're not registered to vote. It's a one-stop shop place to go find your polling locations to make a plan to vote early. We've got to get everybody out to vote. This election starts literally in 21 days. I'm going to say that again. September 19th, here we go. We're going to start early voting, and we've got to get everybody out to vote. So go to secureyourvotevirginia.com, make a plan to vote early. Republicans, we've got to get out to vote and win this election and keep Virginia's revival going. What we've been able to accomplish with Winsome Sears and Jason Miyares at my side, we have been an amazing team. We've turned Virginia around, and we are soaring. But I'm telling you, we've got to win this election, and we've got to win it starting on September 19th. SecureYourVoteVirginia.com. Go there and make a plan to vote early.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming out, and folks can go to that website for more details. It's keeping Virginia, the legacy you installed in place is critical for the rest of the country, but particularly for this area. Thank you, sir.
Great. God bless you both. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Be safe out there, everybody.
All right, you too. Right now it's 7:45.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
All right, Hans, I am not ready to trade my cool iced tea for warm, hot caramel apple spice yet. I know the pumpkin spice people are all out there. All the supermarkets have their displays of pumpkin this and pumpkin that. It is still summer in my books. Is it still summer in your books, Hans?
Oh, yeah. I know in some places school has started early, but that's because there ought to be a law saying school can't start until after the holiday in September. That's the way it was when I was a kid.
Me too. My kids started school this week too. Well, I have another reason for us to hate the Washington Post. And I know that word is a heavy word, but I'm using it because they're trying to kill summer. They have their meteorologists at the Washington Post have officially declared that summer is over in D.C. That is what they're saying. This is the Capital Weather Gang. They're reporting it at the Washington Post. They're saying the forecast for the next 2 weeks calls for highs mostly in the upper 70s and the mid 80s degrees, lows at night in the 50s and 60s. And so with no sign of a straight 3 days of 90-degree weather or hotter in the near future, they are saying that summer is over in D.C.
Well, no. Actually, I think, remember the 1970s, they were all predicting that we were facing global cooling. So obviously that must be what's going on.
Yeah, I listen. I mean, they just want to take the joy out of everything, Hans.
They do.
I mean, this is the day. These are the last few days where you're allowed to wear white. I mean, Labor Day weekend officially or unofficially is when you're not supposed to wear white anymore. You can transition to your winter white hues, which is, a little bit more of a cream based rather than your bright whites. Your linens, you're going to get this month is when you get your last wear out of your linen shirts and dresses, the tank tops. I mean, the shorts. I heard Larry yesterday saying something about wearing flip-flops in November. I don't go that far. But this is when we get to enjoy those sweet few summer nights that's still warm and the sun is still out a little bit early. The kids haven't gotten a ton of homework yet, so you could still. And I'm going to be hitting up the water park. If you don't remember, Six Flags in the Maryland area, they call it Six Flags, I think Baltimore, but it's really Six Flags in Maryland, just down the street from my house almost. They are closing at the end of this year, but they're closing the water park next Saturday. So this is your last 2 weekends to hit the water park, get the kids down that water slide. I would not advise it if you are old like me and have a bad back. I did that last weekend and I'm paying the price today. But yeah, let's enjoy summer. Ignore the Washington Post meteorologist. That's what I say.
Yeah, and it's not as if we need an additional reason to hate the Washington Post.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, they joy dies in their papers, in their headlines. That's what I think that's what their new moniker should say. All right, folks, here at WMAL, it is always summer in our hearts, and it's 7:52.
Many believe that retirement is about hitting a number, $1 million, $2 million, pick one, it doesn't matter. But retirement is not a number. It's the